And the question is, where in my life did I jump into relationships too soon? You don't even have to use the word relationship. You can call the word connection. But remember what I said, if you don't have awareness, it's very hard to progress with healing. So awareness is the first and one of the most important steps in you moving to healing. So first you need to be aware. Where in my life did I jump into a relationship or connection too soon? In hindsight, what should I have done then? More importantly, that I can commit to now. Because you can't change that past. It's happened, it's occurred, but you can use the wisdom from there, the lessons to create inspiration and wisdom for what you need to do from here moving forward. Honoring what is your approach also to a relationship. Now, there is no defined approach that we can take to relationships. They just work in each ways. But I can tell you for myself, after I've done a lot of healing, that I've had to pull back and honor myself before I honored the person who came in. And that was to be able to tell that person, like, hey, this is moving a little fast for me. I think like this is what makes me feel safer and how we progress, because then I know this is something genuine and this is something that can last longer. And that's my intention. In some cases, also simultaneously, like, unlike what Christina was saying, well, like it was so short and you weren't even dating someone and you're like, okay, don't commit to me. For me, I'd also speak up for a need after like a few dates and say like, hey, for me, again, I'm looking at just wanting to date and work with someone consistently. If that's you, that's cool. But if not, don't worry about it, because we've gone through this journey and that's good. But having a foundation enough and this is what's key, having a foundation enough to be then ready for the next level. What happens if you build the first, second, and third floor of a house before you build the ground floor? The house is going to collapse, no? So it's always important for us to have a strong foundation. So a good takeaway for you guys is, what is my foundation that is being created in this relationship? Is this relationship now, does it have a strong enough foundation to go to the next level? And I want to tell you the reason why the physical piece also seems so appealing is because in the physical side, oxytocin, which is basically the cuddle hormone, or the hormone that makes us feel in some senses just valued or loved, the fastest way for it to translate is through physical contact. And so when we get in touch with someone physically, we feel this sense of like connection, of love, of just feeling validated. But again, remember what I said, when we go through sexual experiences, there is that cocktail of adrenaline that runs through our body, giving us the false sense of like this excitement being love. But you need to separate those things very well. Another thing you will learn to do, and especially in the gauntlet, I found that my students learn to do really well after they do their healing and their reparenting work, is that they're able to assess the physical attributes of what they're feeling and the fight and flight that they're feeling, and separate that from the reality of what a relationship is actually showing up as. Because the more grounded you are, remember, you'll be more connected with authentically who you are, and you won't just give into what the feelings are and what they just tell you in that moment to jump into and do. So for those of you who, for me, physicality was an amazing way to make connection in a relationship, but it was also my weakness, therefore. So I had to be able to pull back. I used to actually draw a line with myself and give myself a rule that you may have heard of like the 3-day rule or whatever. I had to give myself that 3-day rule and say that I will only sleep with someone after X number of like days of connection or whatever, so that I can see first, is there something else that has a standard of doing it? Whatever way you are vulnerable to jumping in too soon, that's a space where you need to draw like a certain parameter of a boundary and learn to protect yourself. So you need to be disciplined about it. Importantly enough for you to recognize, what is the reason I need this connection? Is it because of a lack of connection, or is it just because it's something I need to move to the next level in my life? Because one of them represents scarcity. And I'll tell you one thing. Remember what I said, guys. If you're here and you vibrate here, what you attract will be here. If you're here and what you vibrate here will be, you'll get what you get here. So scarcity is in a lower vibration, right? We'd all agree. So if I'm going out into the world with a place of scarcity and saying, I just want connection because I'm lonely, then what I'm going to get is substandard connections that are going to just serve the purpose of giving me a false sense of connection or value or commitment temporarily. And then it'll be withdrawn and my heart will need to will crash. So a good strategy then is to create a plan for the self, saying, and this is what I want to offer you, Mayala, and everybody else who's listening, because I know so many of us are basically isolating and working from home. I love the Mexicans, the way they say it. They say home office, home office. It's so cute. I live in Mexico, by the way. So just not randomly picking a community to mention what they say, guys. I'm just saying this is what my neighbors and people around me say. But in one thing I found for myself is, if I can create a plan of how I can find small snippets of healthy connection every day, whether it's with myself or whether it's with other people. So listen, we are not meant to be isolated individuals. We aren't. Socially, the biggest form of punishment in a prison is isolation. So we're not meant to be isolated. So we can't say, oh, I'll be fine just by myself and life will work. But what you can do is you can create small steps of healthy connection in and around you. Now, the US and North America, I know, are harder places to be able to get it, which is why I moved to Mexico, because I'm like, the skin is like fucking brown, and this needs to be around other people who understand me and can relate with me. But when you are in North America and Canada, it may be that you have more distance. Like, especially in Texas, you can drive for fucking miles and not see another person, right? So depending on where you live. But how can I create small levels of healthy connection in my day? I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it may require you to put on your fucking yoga pants or whatever and go out to a coffee shop, even though you don't drink fucking coffee, and have a little chat with the barista or somebody else, just so you have a little bit of human interaction. It may look like going to the gym, and when you go to the gym, not just putting on your headphones and just staying in your world, it may look like lifting up your head, opening up your heart, and pulling back your shoulders and saying, hey, how's your day going? Because what you want is you want to constructively avoid the damaging side of not doing that, which is, oh shit, now I'm lonely, I get sucked into this relationship. So if you can support yourself with healthy connection, it will make you less vulnerable for unhealthy connection. Does that make sense? Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.